Okay, Fiona, please.
Kia ora koutou. You've probably all met me before, but kia ora, I'm Fiona. I live in the Herwood ward, and I've been here many times. I don't have a lot of time, so quickly. I've tossed and turned a lot over what to speak about today because you have an impossible task ahead of you. There are people wanting lower rates, and it's impossible. You have to deliver services. You have to fix the water infrastructure. You have to provide safe cycleways. You have to lower the speeds. You have to do all of this without much money from the government, sadly. So I agree with others who have said you need to ask for more from the government. The government needs to allow you to fix the waterways especially and provide safe cycling and slower speeds. There's all sorts of things on the screen in front of me. That's entertaining. I just coming back to the cycleways thing. I think people think that it's a nice to have. It really isn't a nice to have. It saves lives. Directly, like people not getting hit by people who are drugged, drunk, distracted. And indirectly, because we're not inhaling as much exhaust fumes. We're not dying prematurely because of the gases that people inhale because they're sitting in vehicles. And also the waterways are healthier because there's less particulates in the waterways. There's so many co-benefits from cycleways. They're not just a nice to have. They're not just a recreational thing. 4.9% of people are using them every single day for commuting. And that's only counting the people who are using the cycleways. There are thousands more in places like where I live, where there aren't any cycleways, and we still ride our bikes. So there is an uncaptured quantity of bicycle riders out there, and I would love to have some counters on non-cycleways so we know what the increase is once you put that cycleway in place. People say, oh, there's only 8 people biking down Herwood Road, because who in their right mind would bike down Herwood Road? I certainly don't, unless it's really, really quiet. But the other routes aren't great either. Herwood Road is sometimes a better option because Suez Arms is also terrifying. I'm going to allow you to ask questions. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, fine. Mark, please.
Thank you. I'm sure you heard the previous presentation with the idea of temporary and cheaper cycleways. Would you agree with that?
I think they're a great idea, but like Ferry Road, they cannot become the permanent solution. It's a great way to trial something, to go, does it work, does it not, does it need changing? But we need a long-term solution. It doesn't need to be expensive long-term, but it needs to be not plastic bollards.
I guess extrapolating that a bit further, do you think that might also help to get more interconnection between cycleways?
Yes, absolutely. So we don't even have the 13 MCRs completed, and we still need all the connections between them or extensions of existing ones, like the unicycle, which gets you to university, but it doesn't get you to Avonhead or Russley or anywhere beyond there. Yeah.
Pauline?
Fiona, can you please just explain more your comment around opposing the sale of Waipara Street?
Oh gosh, remind.
It's
Is this
the link through,
in
it's the
Cashmere?
link through Craycroft.
Craycroft. Yeah. So we need to, like Mark's just said, we need to have these cycle connections, and so there's lots of little places where we could put little cut throughs, like hearing the Sockburn Park talk recording earlier, like all these little places where we can put little cut throughs and make walking and cycling and e-scootering and all those things much, much easier. But if we get rid of these properties, we lose the opportunity to put cycle connections, bike connections, walking connections, and tree canopy cover in those places.
So you're suggesting that we put that as an overlay when making a decision about selling a property? Could this be used as one of the links, or even part of it?
Absolutely, yeah. And also as we get denser housing, which I know you've just mostly delayed, but as we get denser housing, we need the green space. We cannot afford to sell green space. We're going to need all of it.
Tim?
Yeah, thank you. And with regards to the bollards you mentioned on Park Terrace, which I love, by the way, when you're looking at Craycroft and we look to the cycle way between Penruddock Road and Westmoreland and Hoon Hay, which I voted against simply because the most dangerous part of that whole road, when we nearly have 100 kids in Westmoreland plus extras, is the Cashmere Bridge.
Yeah.
But when I talked to staff about that and said, look at the amazing bollards in Park Terrace, which are real bollards, how about we narrow that slightly, put the bollards in paint and slow the speed to make that safer, to then allow other development right through to Sparks Road. The comment was, oh, but a kid could actually fall into them and then be. I just do you. You're a cyclist.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there. I was staggered. I was saying, wait a minute.
Yeah, I don't quite understand the staff falling in thing, but we definitely need protection over that bridge. It's really
That's ridiculous,
it's terrifying, especially when the buses come past as well.
Look, honestly, I've sat there with parents, and it's not just buses, it's trucks, it's cars, it's everybody cuts both sides of it. So
Yeah. And on my way here, I went down Wairaki Road because it's nicer than Herwood Road, and those little yellow little bumps to try and teach drivers to just go a little bit further away from the curb, or don't cut the corner. They don't work. Drivers just drive over them. Every single time I bike down Wairaki Road, they just cut straight over those corners. So we need actual vertical deterrence.
And those ones on Patch I love. I think
great.
they're great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fiona. We've used all your time up, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
George, please.